Welcome to the Bean Pod. This is your place for all things stocks and crypto. From beginner tips to expert picks. Use this as fuel for your investing journey, because when you're in the know, your money will grow.
The Bean Pod is presented by DAOmaker, the top crypto launchpad in the industry.
DAOmaker allows people to participate in top crypto projects before they launch and generate some of the best returns you can find anywhere.
They also provide growth solutions for crypto projects that are looking for funding and assistance with marketing.
With their revolutionary new public strongholder offerings, everyone can get early access to top crypto projects regardless of their net worth.
DAOmaker is rapidly disrupting the venture capital industry. If you're interested, head over to DAOmaker.com to learn more.
Welcome to the Bean Pod. This is Shane, aka the Jolly Green Investor.
And this is Josh, the Nifty Investor.
Today, we're going to do a big, huge, important market update.
Because the market is absolutely tanking. How low will it go?
All right, so we got Russia, as time of recording, has just invaded Ukraine. The markets, both the stock and the crypto markets, have had a bloody 24 hours. How low is it going to go? How long is this going to last? We're going to basically discuss what you need to do to prepare for this and, when to buy the bottom, right?
Yeah, there's a lot going on. It's absolutely terrifying. Turning on the news yesterday, seeing some tweets, and all of a sudden it just happened. The invasion just happened. You're like, oh my God. Because you saw these influencers and whatnot talking about how, the Western media is turning this into a big scandal and blah, blah, blah. Well, hello, they did invade, and there was actual intelligence that led to those beliefs.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think the signs were all there that it was going to happen. And obviously, Josh and I were fully against war. The actions of Russia are criminal and disgusting. But seeing as this is a financial channel and a lot of people have a lot of money invested in both stocks and crypto, it's important to talk about what we're doing, what we would recommend people think about doing. You got to protect your own assets, right? And these are major world events that have huge consequences for global financial markets.
So the writing has been on the wall for a while now. There has been media from all around the world, different spots, and take everything with a grain of salt. The media is paid off by certain conglomerates, etc. But from a risk reward perspective, when you know that there is a potential for war and it's going to be catastrophic for the markets, what have we been preaching to the Discord? What have we been saying on our Twitter accounts? Look, from a risk reward perspective, it's probably a good idea to take some money out, maybe put them into some stable coins, let the market settle, figure out what it's going to do. Because if you're in altcoins right now, they're down 50, 60%. Bitcoin, down 30, 40%, a little bit less, right? But the altcoins are going to take a massive hit. So we've de-risked
for sure
out and put our money into stable coins, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've been posting about the Discord. I've been posting on Twitter. I de-risked a lot of my small and mid-cap altcoins, got rid of almost every single one of them about 2 weeks ago when Bitcoin was sitting around $45,000. Altcoins just take the brunt of it, Like Bitcoin, as you said, it might go down 10, 15%. Altcoins can go down 50% in that same range. The HODL strategy, the diamond hand strategy, does not work for altcoins. They're extreme. And, you see these comments, people are like, no, never sell diamond hands. That strategy does not work with altcoins because they're so volatile. When they rip 100%, you should be taking profits.
Yeah.
And as we've seen, we've this huge scare in the markets over the past 48 hours. A lot of altcoins have dipped 40%. So is it a good time to dollar cost average in right now? Probably. There was that interesting chart that we were talking about that shows where global markets go from the time of invasion, right? So it was the last 6 major wars. There's a huge dip on invasion. And I think 5 out of 6 or 4 out of 5 of them, the market recovers pretty soon afterwards. So by the invasion, as horrible as it does sound, that seems like a strategy that has worked over time.
And we did see a little bit of that today. Bitcoin did have its massive sell-off. And then it ticked up like 6-7%.
Yeah.
The stock market did the same thing. It's almost like we've been acclimatized to these worldly events and we kind of get over it and move on from it. However, there is potential for more fear to come. We don't know what Putin's going to do next. And there could be something that we don't expect at all. And then that shocks the market again. So it's more of the shocking factors that I think we need to be aware of.
100%. The market right now, we're not in a technical analysis market. We're not in a market where, this project has a great partnership or is launching this. That doesn't matter. We are in a news-driven, fear-laden market right now where any significant move by Russia or Ukraine or USA or China, that is what's going to drive the price of Bitcoin and therefore all other cryptocurrencies, right? So this is the way that I'm playing it, and this is, just my personal opinion. Putin is not out of tricks yet. The media loves to spread fear. So when there is something that he does or a sanction that is put forth to Russia and they're going to retaliate with doing something else, the media is going to play that up to be much, much worse than it actually is in real life. Do I think World War III is starting right now? No. But I think there are going to be more headlines that are pointing towards World War III, and that's going to cause the fear. So do I think we've seen the lowest point of the markets, the invasion crash? No. I think there's probably worse times ahead. So I'm staying patient, right?
Yeah. I mean, when, you have the Iraq, Kuwait, you have the U.S. invading countries in the Middle East, you don't really have the Canadian news. You don't have the European. Not everybody is publicizing it the way that this is. There is so much coverage on this right now. Twitter is exploding. You didn't get this type of explosion from other wars. So to me, it feels like we're entering a world war, and it's not necessarily going to be nukes and missiles. It's going to be what we're seeing now, the sanctions. So we're at war, but maybe more from an economical standpoint, data breaches, other type of ways to curb Russia's attacks moving forward.
Yeah, for sure. Cybersecurity is a huge one. I think I've already seen some things about Biden and NATO planning cybersecurity, sanctions, and all this kind of stuff. And Russia, they're all about the cybersecurity hacks. So I think at this point, we have to expect the unexpected. I'm not going to be going all in on any dip buying because I think there's going to be a lot more fear to come. We always preach dollar cost averaging, and with Bitcoin sitting around, 35, 36, 37,000, altcoins are sitting at great prices. So if you have the patience and the mettle to dollar cost average into your positions right now, that's a good idea. And, I think in the long term, you're going to see these prices go a lot higher. However, I would just say you have to expect the prices to also go a lot lower in the short term here. This thing is just getting started. We don't know what Putin's intentions are. We don't know what's going to happen. Is he going to take the whole country? Is it going to stop at, is it just a quick blitz? We're not war experts, right? But I think you have to stay patient here. As enticing as it can be to see Bitcoin drop to 34,000 like it did yesterday, and everyone's screaming, buy the dip, buy the dip. Dollar cost averaging slowly, but I wouldn't be going all in right now. No way. No way.
And I think, I think Biden's supposed to be coming out with a crypto regulation speech at some point here, or announcement. I think that's really important. I mentioned in a tweet earlier today, it was more along the lines of just observing what's occurring and seeing the price of Bitcoin just slide, the way it did. It goes to show you that it's still a risk asset. It's still very speculative, and organizations or institutions that are holding it are going to get rid of the riskiest assets first. So we still need this regulation to come in as well. So I think that did highlight that Bitcoin is still in its infancy until we eventually get these regulations. Yeah. Another thing I identified or saw as well was the cybersecurity. You can get attacked from the ground, you can get attacked from the air, the physical threats, but there's also the cyber threat as well. So, I know some of our listeners are into stocks, they're into crypto. So from a stock market perspective, maybe you want to start looking into the cybersecurity stocks like CrowdStrike or SentinelOne, because those are trading at all-time lows as well. We speak about the altcoins.
For sure.
But there's some stocks out there that could be a great play at the moment as well, right?
Definitely. I think you touched on it just there. It was people were, they always try to frame Bitcoin as this new safe haven, inflation hedge, all that. But you're right. People don't actually understand what Bitcoin is because it's so early. So what is actually the safe haven? It's gold, which has seen a massive spike over the last week as war ramped up, right? So, if you're into stock investing, I'd be looking at the gold miners or the gold ETFs, right? Like Barrick Gold or whatever. Those are the ones that have actually seen the price increase due to the war. Whereas Bitcoin, as you mentioned, it's still treated as a high-risk technology. That's because people just don't understand it yet, and that's fine. But you can't will something into existence right now. You have to treat it is what it is right now. So it is still a risk-on asset. And with uncertainty looming in the world, risk-on assets get dumped, right?
Yeah.
But I think, gold is probably a good play right now, or was a couple of weeks ago.
It's actually been going up for the past 6 months on a very gradual, steady incline. When you look at Bitcoin over the past year, it's actually down 24%. The past past 3 months, down 35%.
Yeah.
Gold, on the other hand, for the past 6 months is up something like that.
Peter Schiff just loving this.
I know he is, but it's something that institutions hold a lot of, right? The regulate everything's already there in place for it, so it's a lot safer of a haven for these big wealthy individuals.
For sure. One of the good outcomes that's going to come of this conflict, for the financial markets perspective and for a lot of these people who are, looking to capitalize on these opportunities is I think the fact that now that there's a major conflict and it's probably come a lot quicker and maybe escalated a lot faster than people think, will probably delay the Fed in the States from raising interest rates or tapering out of the market, right? That's what everyone was scared of, a month ago. That was the big fear. Fed tapering, raising interest rates, inflation, all that kind of stuff. That was going to tank the markets. Well, now I think they were expected to do a rate hike in March next month. I can't see that happening now. There's too much else. There's too much other things going on. So I think they're either going to push that back or just scrap it all together. So that kind of keeps the markets propped up for X amount of time. So that is one bullish indicator I would say that's going to come out of this, that the interest rates probably won't get hiked.
That is a good thing. So where else can we look? Where else can people look right now? We have, because there's so much uncertainty. Do people just sit on cash? Do people just sit on a stable coin? Are there opportunities out there in the market for people to invest in? When I ask myself these questions, I start to think of, well, Russia is one of the largest exporters and producers of commodities required for electric vehicles, for batteries, so like nickel, copper, like all these things that we're going to need. They're also one of the largest exporters and producers in the world of natural gas, petroleum. So that's why we're seeing oil prices above $100 a barrel for the first time since 2014, the last time that Russia invaded Ukraine.
Right.
So I would almost start to look maybe more into the companies that in the U.S. that manufacture these, because there's going to be a huge demand. And if you're sanctioning Russia right now, right, like where are we going to get the resources from to do this? We're going to have to start looking internally. Well,
we touched on a lot of those topics in our wartime stocks episode from a couple of weeks ago. You touched on the natural gas, the oil angle, and the equipment and the weapons companies. They have all seen a great spike since that episode. So there are other places to look. I think other things you can do. For me personally, I'm sitting heavily in stable coins. You can stake your stable coins. Stake your stable coins for a week, for a month, for 2 months. You actually earn passive income just by having those stable coins on Binance or wherever you have them, right? That's something I have been doing. And, it's less risky than actually investing in a lot of mid and small cap altcoins right now, which I'm absolutely not doing. And you're earning income. So you don't just have to have your cash piled under your bed. You know what I mean? You can put it to work in less risky ways that are not exposed to a global conflict.
Yeah.
So I think, staking, pooling, all that kind of stuff for crypto is such an awesome thing that I would be taking advantage of if I had a big pile of stable coins right now.
Yeah, and I was looking on Binance today to look at, what the staking percentages are. And for BUSD, USDC, and USDT, somewhere around 3%. So, and it's flexible as well, so you can withdraw, take it out whenever you want.
Yeah, that's the
best part. You don't have to
part.
lock it up for 90 days. So that is a play that I'm doing as well.
For sure. Yeah, I think there are other ways to make money, less risky ways during a conflict like this. But again, I think it's always important. We always say zoom out. No matter how bad this conflict gets, the world will get through it. The charts will recover. The S&P 500 will recover. Bitcoin will recover. Crypto will recover, right? So dollar cost average into your positions. We learned from all the past conflicts. Not only, we even talked about this on the wartime stocks as well. We look back to the Vietnam War, the Korean War, World War II, all these invasions. There is always a dip, and it's always a buy the dip opportunity. Mm-hmm. The world moves on eventually. So just try not to panic sell when there's blood in the streets. Those are usually good times to buy. What's the best case scenario here, and what's the worst case scenario?
Best case scenario is what we saw when COVID hit in March 2020. The market tanked for like a week, and then Bitcoin went on a parabolic run and went up to like 69K.
Yeah.
That is best case scenario. That's something.
But what has to happen in Russia and Ukraine for that to happen?
I think we need to see a resolution.
Yeah.
And so either Russia, it's a very delicate situation here, right? Like, do we impose sanctions that absolutely crush Russia, but then Putin actually follows through on what he says, and he says, you guys are going to, whoever tries to get in my way is going to see the wrath of like God pretty much. So it's a fine line. Or do you let him accomplish his goal? But what does he do from there? Does he have another plan in place after that? So
give a man an inch, right?
He'll take a mile. So I'm wondering, or does he just move in swiftly? The Ukrainian president says, okay, have what you want, and it's over. I don't know, man. This is a crazy man we're dealing with.
Yeah. And, he's coming to he's getting a little bit older in life. Maybe this is his stand. He wants to bring glory back to Russia. And I think that's the scary part. We just don't know. You cannot predict what that regime is going to do. So to say that the invasion is the worst thing we're going to see and the lowest markets are going to go, that's not accurate. There's no possible way he's going to launch missiles at Kiev tomorrow or something. Like no one has any idea.
Yeah.
You just have to play it safe. This is not the time to be going risk on. Don't go all in. Don't ape into these low prices for altcoins. I think it's just a bad idea. Worst case scenario, this war gets a lot worse and pulls more countries into it. I think if we see any of the other first world powers like USA or China or the big European nations, if they actually get pulled in a meaningful way, that's going to be big trouble.
Yeah. And,
it's going to be terrible for the world and terrible for the financial markets. I think it's unlikely, but you have to be prepared for the worst.
You just never know with this guy. Like you see him sitting in some of these interviews or press conferences, and he just seems so, nonchalant. He's like, yeah, don't worry, I'm not going to do anything. And then boom, he just dropping bombs, and it was so well coordinated. This has been an attack that's been planned for years.
Yeah.
He didn't just do this overnight. And the other thing about that is that what are we doing? You think Canada is sitting over here planning for when Russia goes into Ukraine? Then it's not the last thing, but they have so many other aspects of their job as a government that they have to focus on.
The truckers.
Right? Like they have the coronavirus, they have other stuff they have to worry about. They're not thinking about. Meanwhile, this guy's sitting in his little den, like, okay, if I move this piece here and do that thing here, if you're playing a game of chess, he's so far ahead of the curve right now.
I imagine Putin sitting in like a den with like a bunch of bears, like big Russian grizzly bears, planning his attack. I always like to put myself in the position to say, if someone who was completely out of crypto and stocks and who'd never invested in these things before, if they came to me today and said, is this a good time to start investing? And I play this in my mind at different times when different things are happening in the markets, because you get so caught up in your portfolio and you want to make up for gains and protect your loss, all that kind of stuff, right? But if you put yourself in the shoes of someone who's never invested, is this a good time to start investing? I would say slowly. Like right now, prices are low in tech stocks, in crypto, which are the things that we like probably the most. So slowly, which is like dollar cost average into these positions. Don't go all in. But in general, I think prices are very attractive across the board. They could get lower. But that's the beauty of dollar cost averaging, right? So if you put 5K in today and it drops from 30% next week, well, you put another 5K in, and you get that bottom price eventually, right?
Yeah. Look at where everything was trading 5-6 months ago, right? So everything is at a discount. Again, risk reward. I did buy a little bit of Upstart today.
Oh yeah,
it's an AI lending platform. Smashed their earnings, like just absolutely smashed it.
Cool.
And what we were talking about the rate hikes earlier in the episode. When you have interest rates, potentially being increased, you have inflation. It's putting a real stress on people's financial situations. And this is a stock that has, to me, looks like it's bottomed out. And then when they absolutely just obliterated their earnings, and I know that lending is going to come in super handy moving forward, I put a few bucks in today.
Yeah.
So there are some opportunities out there. I think at the cybersecurity stocks, if we see another attack from a cyber perspective, that could also send those flying as well.
For sure.
And they're also in a more of like a bottomed out position.
Yeah. Basically all tech stocks are right now.
So from when you ask that question, where is this a good time to invest? Yes, but in certain areas.
Yep. Certain sectors.
Certain
Pick your sectors.
Yeah.
It's as much as I hate watching the news, or not watching the news, reading the news on the internet all the time and being glued to Twitter. This is one of the times where I am kind of looking for these things because they can have a quick snap effect. If a news comes out of missiles being launched in the capital of Ukraine, the markets will react, like you said earlier, because social media, it reacts so quick. It's like, how does it sell off so quick? It's insane. So That's what I would say. Look, just keep your eye on what's going on in the news. Don't make any snap decisions. Dollar cost average into positions. Just try not to panic sell. If you think things are going to zero, they never are, right? The markets always recover. It's a shitty situation right now, but this is kind of what we're doing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah.
And tune in, honestly, just go check out our wartime stocks episode where we didn't know that there was an attack, but we said, hey, look, if there's an attack, these ones are going to do well. And a lot of them have been performing. So, go and check that out as well.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Cool. You got anything else to add today?
I think that's pretty good, but make sure you listen to the next episode.
It's going to be a banger.
All views expressed by speakers on the BeanPod are solely their opinions. You should not treat any opinion expressed on the BeanPod as a specific inducement to make a particular investment or follow a specific strategy, but only as an expression of their opinion. This podcast is for informational purposes only.